Greetings YouTube! Today we're looking at monsters and villains of the movies and literature from Scholastic Books. They do love these monster books. There have been numerous numbers of them. I think I own them all, but I'm not positive. I have made an effort to hunt them down. Introduction, and we get into the werewolf. He's a kind of an adorable looking werewolf though. The creature from the Black Lagoon. He looks like he's had Botox done. Imhotep, the classic mummy, in a very dynamic pose. Looks like he's trying to do yoga. Bride of Frankenstein. The Blob. They have the Blob interpreted in this one, but the Blob got much, much bigger. And the original Blob from the black and white film with Steve McQueen was a story about the Red Menace. We have Nosferatu. King Kong. You'll see some overlap in some of these books where they reuse the same illustrations more than once. Then we have just Jaws, a big shark. Flying monkeys, which is an interesting interpretation of the flying monkeys. They look more realistic than they do in many illustrations. Hannibal Lecter, he was a person. I don't think of it. He's a villain. He's not a monster, so I'll give him villain. Jason, definitely a villain. And we have the classic zombies. And he looks like he really needs some knee surgery. Frankenstein's monster. And again, a very soulful Frankenstein's monster. And we have Dracula. The Headless Horseman. That's interesting. No pumpkin, just the head. I kind of like the pumpkin version myself. Triffids. I don't know if I've seen a Triffid in any of these before. That's cool. Triffids were interesting. Morlocks. Again, very dynamic. Part of that's because of the portrait-sized, landscape nature of the book. The Jabberwock. My wife used to be able to recite that entire poem. We have Mr. Hyde. An orc. And very soulful eyes. I like his mace. Shelob, the great spider. Fascinating version. Actual proper mouth as opposed to your traditional vampire. I mean, traditional spider. Lord Sauron. A ring wraith. Again, do they have the licenses to do this? Quasimodo. I don't think of Quasimodo as a villain. I think of Quasimodo as a hero. That's a strange choice. Phantom of the Opera. Kind of a villain. Moby Dick. Don't really think of him as a villain or a monster. He's just a big whale trying to keep from being killed. Caliban. He was a monster. Even if he had been created. Macbeth's witches. But they have all their eyes. And their teeth. I like to think of them as being versions of the Greek witches. Just me. I like the Greek inspiration more than the traditional Western, I guess, or Western or European. Rumpelstiltskin. A very kindly-looking witch. Not as horrific as witches are often depicted. The Evil Queen. She looks so happy. She enjoys being evil. She gets into it. It's an expression of who she is. Mordred. Medusa. The beauty shot. The beauty shot of a Medusa. That's really funny. It's been a while since I looked at this book. Sorry. This is almost like a fresh introduction to some of these images. Hydra. Kind of more of a worm looking like Hydra. Kind of like that. And Cerberus. The Chimera. A harpy. a siren. Interesting to portray the siren as a bird-like creature as opposed to more of a mermaid-like creature. The Sphinx. This is an Egyptian version. I always thought of the Sphinx as... I always thought of the Sphinx as being earlier and just kind of adopted and absorbed by the Egyptians. I'm not sure. Well, where are there? Grendel. That doesn't seem big enough for Grendel. Fenrir. That does not seem big enough for Fenrir. Not even close. Fenrir should be the size of a small bus. Fafnir. Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse. The Zizbird, which is apparently very large. You're the last one, Zizbird? You are the last one, and then we get into the index. So there you go. I think this is the last of the books I have of this variety to show off, or do a synopsis of. I don't have any more of these. If there are more of these that I haven't covered on my channel, and I think I got them all, but I'm not positive. People tell me.